All right, everybody, let's go have some fun today. Let's talk about business application. Right now it is August the 29th, and a lot of you all are starting to get inside of the business plan. Business plan time normally starts from August all the way through October, and during this period of time, what you're doing is you're establishing a baseline for the performance for the following year, for example, 2018. Normally it takes about 2 or 3 months for the business plan, and just wanted to spend a little bit of time just kind of talking about it, how we normally do it, how we should do it, and then we'll transition to a little bit more about the financial statement analysis. So, traditionally, business plans, there's multiple ways to handle a business plan. One of the biggest ones that people use is they just take the prior year results and increase everything. They increase their sales, they increase their cost of goods sold, they increase their expenses by percentage, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever it may be. This is how I would probably say 60% of the businesses work. Here's performance. We multiply sales by 20%. We're going to increase our cost of goods sold, which is our value in the goods, right? It's our production cost. We'll increase that 5% for material and labor, whatever the reason is, and we'll assume a 2% increase on expenses. Poof, poof, poof. 1 week later, you have now built your business plan, so your life is good and easy. And that's a cat in the background, so sorry about that. That's one way. That's really not the preferred way. There's another way, a second way, it's zero-based budgeting. And zero-based budgeting, what that means is you start with a blank slate. You pretend you have no expenses, you pretend you don't know what you're going to sell, and you build all that up from the very lowest rung. Here's what I'm going to spend. I'm going to spend $10,000 on labor for Michael Stutz for each given month, and you build it up very precise, very delicately, it's extremely detail-oriented. It's extremely accurate to a certain degree, but it has a lot of detail, and a lot of detail, because it goes on the assumption when you're going to have your waste picked up, how much your utility bills are going to be, how much you're going to spend on magazines, how much you're going to spend on advertising, and it's normally down to the $100. It's very accurate, very detail oriented, but also on the flip side, it takes a crazy long time to do. Not many companies actually do that. What they actually use is a hybrid, and that's what I've used here, my current company. That's what I used at Coca-Cola, that's what I used at Philips, that's what I've used at Mars. Every company I've worked at, we've used a hybrid. And the hybrid is, we take our activity year to date by month. So right now it would be January through June, as far as, because it's actual, right? It's the perfect information. And I say, okay, 2018 is going to be very similar, and I remove all the one-time charges. So if I knew that I had a water leak and I had to pay for that, if I had some legal expenses, I had to pay for that, I would remove those costs. My assumption would be 2017 would be exactly the same as 2018, except I'm going to go through, remove the one-time occurrences, the flukes, right, the anomalies. I'm going to remove those. I'm going to add back to it cost of living adjustments for people. Traditionally, you'll give people 3% cost of living adjustment as far as their pay, and also you plan to give a bonus. You take 2017, you remove anomalies, you add back what you know is going to change, and you establish that as your expenses. When it comes to your sales, though, no matter what, you should always do your best to go through and create a zero-based budget. You want to know what material you're going to sell, the quantity you're going to sell, the number you're going to sell, and who you're going to sell it to. Now, the reason is every bit of that matters. When I worked as the controller over plasma television and LCD, and back in the CRT, that's the old TVs which had the big base to it, we had to know every bit of that. And here's the reason why. I need to know who I'm selling the product to, because depending upon who I sold a product to, I would either charge a higher or lower price. So for example, I'll make up something. Best Buy is a premium store. You go to Best Buy, you know you're going to pay a premium. So when I made a TV, I would charge a premium. I basically charge Best Buy more for the TV. because they're a premium type store. So I would know how much my price would be. I would want to know the quantity. I'd want to know the number of units that I'm selling, because if you remember right, basically selling price multiplied by quantity is going to give me my gross sales. Yeah, that's what it is. Sales price multiplied by quantity gives me my gross sales. Now, the third component, the reason we really care about who we sell to is because that's exactly what it was. When I sold to Best Buy, I always had a premium. When I sold to like Sam's Club or somebody like that, I would sell it for a discount, right? Because they're not a premium store. Most of the discounters like that make their money through membership. You pay $40 or $80 for your membership. That's really how they make their money. They might make 2% margin on the stuff they sell, but traditionally they make their money through the membership fees that everybody pays. 50, 40, 100 bucks, 120 bucks. That's really how they make a large part of their earnings. So you really care about who you're selling it to, because depending upon who you're selling it to and what type product you're selling, you might be able to have a higher sales price, right? Does that make sense? So if I'm selling, I'll give you an example. If I'm selling a 15-inch TV, I'm going to sell that for about $200. That's great. If I'm selling a 42-inch television, I'm going to charge $2,000 for that. So I care about the mix of products that I'm selling, because different products have different costs and have different sell prices to me and have different purchase price to you all. But even within that material mix, right, I can sell 15-inch, 42-inch, 50-inch, 65-inch televisions. Who I would sell it to would also have an impact. As I mentioned before, if I sell to Best Buy, I will charge a premium on the stuff I sell to Best Buy because it's a premium store. You get better service. It's worth it because, you know, people are knowledgeable. They can answer questions. All the good stuff that goes along with it. Whereas on the flip side, when I sell stuff to a Sam's Club, you really don't have that great a service. Yes, they have the product. Yes, they'll get it down for you if you ask. But for the most part, in general, it's not a great. It's a good service, but it's not as great as it would be for Best Buy. So I care about who I'm selling the product to. Customer mix is what we call it. I care about the mix of products that I'm selling. That's product mix that we call it. I care about the sales price because the sales price is important, right? And of course, I care about the quantity, the number of units that I plan to sell at any one point in time. That's the way things are. Now, from those pieces of information, I can come back and tell you by month. I can tell you how much sales I'm going to have. I can also back into how much margin, gross margin. Remember, sales less my cost of goods sold is gross margin. Less my expenses, of course, is my income from operation. Less some taxes gives me my net income, net loss. All super important numbers. But for our business plan, we always build sales at this. Basically, we build it from the lowest level up. I want to know who I'm going to sell, why I'm going to sell. Because let's think about it for a little bit. Just because I assume I'm going to sell a 42-inch TV for $2,000, does that in fact actually mean I'm going to sell the television, the 42-inch TV, for $2,000? And of course the answer is no, right? So why do you think it might be that I might not sell it for $2,000? Well, competition. Well, maybe somebody is going to come in. We're going to have a low-cost alternative, which is going to come in, undercut me. I can't sell a $2,000 TV when everybody else is selling one for $1,500. So I will have to lower my price. I may not get $2,000. I might have to charge now $1,700. It could be competition. It could be change in technology. Maybe the TV I have is older technology, and somebody brand new comes along. They have better technology, have better picture, they have more features, and they're charging $2,000 for their TV. Well, I can't charge $2,000 for my TV, which has a worse picture and and not great technology, when somebody is the exact same price point, better picture, better technology, just better all around. So similar item, I'm going to have to lower my sales price. But we need to know that because we have to have a projection of when we're going to go through and calculate sales price. How is it going to fall? Traditionally, we do see a decline in sales price year over year because it's exactly what it was. Competition, new technology, just everything in general. People, just market saturation. You know, think about folks with a smartphone. I always think about like an iPhone. You know, once everybody has an iPhone in hand and they keep coming up with the iPhone 8 and iPhone 9, well, your market's saturated, right? People don't need two cell phones, and it's only going to be a matter of, are the improvements significant enough to warrant you going through and buying a brand new one? And the answer could be yes or no. It all depends upon what you personally believe. You know, I don't think so, but hey, that's just me. But we build our sales at the lowest level because I want to know sales price, the product mix, 15-inch, 42-inch, 65-inch. I want to know the customer mix. Am I selling to Best Buy, Kmart, Radio Shack, whoever it may be? And I need to know my sales price because, keep in mind, sales price will decline over time. And we also offer promotions. When I reduce my sales price, keep in mind, when I reduce my sales price, assuming my cost of goods sold and expenses remain the same, assuming my cost of goods sold remains exactly the same, that means I'm going to have less margin. I'm going to have less profitability. Every time I take a reduction in the sales price, I have to have, I'm getting less margin. So correspondingly, what I want to do as a business owner, I'm going to want to go through and be able to cut cost from my production, right? If I have a TV and I'll make up a number, I can sell it for $2,000 and it costs me $1,000 to make, $1,000 margin, life's great. If I have to cut the price down to $1,500 sales price, but my cost of goods sold is still $1,000, now I get $500 margin, not so great. So what I want to do is I will want to cut out $500 or as much as I can from the cost. And that means either I'm going to work for more automation, I'm going to go to my various vendors and try to negotiate better terms, basically cheaper price. I'm going to try to find some way to lower my cost because I don't want to let go of my nice hefty 50% margin that I've had previously. So I'll try to find some way, either cutting labor, trying to have more of an automated facility, trying to find cheaper material, or going to my current vendor mix and say, look, I need you to cut out 10%. I need you to take a haircut. I need you to go through and just not make as much margin on me. Because we want to keep our margins the same. Because remember, most important thing, the only reason we do anything in life, at least our accounting world, is to make a profit. And that's ultimately what we're doing here, is we think about how we run a business. And what you're doing now is you're taking all your accounting knowledge and you're applying it to a business. All right. Another video shortly.